show. Na 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 na. Got to get that feeling.
Okay, so I'm not
Hello, loves. It's
Hi,
me.
Sunshine.
Hey, Kathy. What's going on, love?
How are you, beautiful?
I am good. Welcome to the Ripple Connection. Yay.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I'm excited for you to be here.
Before we start, I have a token of appreciation for having us on your show.
Okay. Oh,
you are my sunshine.
Oh, I love that. You made that?
No.
Ah.
I was shopping for other things and I was thinking of you.
Oh.
That's very loud. And I immediately thought that you needed to have this. And if you wanted to do your own coloring, you're all about the color. I love the color, but I just was very drawn to it. So I said, she needs to have this.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I know exactly where I'm going to put it.
And it's from Susan and I. And whenever you join the bowls and whenever we see you, I just feel the vibe that comes off of you, and it's the best. It's delicious. It's the best.
Thank you.
So it's just a little token and love from us, and we just love you.
And I love you guys. So thank you. Yay.
Hey.
All right. What'd you say, love?
I said it's all good.
It is all good. I love that. I love it. And I appreciate you. Thank you. You're just
We appreciate you too.
Okay, enough about me. I have your beautiful book up in the corner. Do you see it?
Ooh. Yes, I do. Yeah. I love it. Thank you.
So fun. And I have your little stuff scrolling on the bottom for you. So share with us all your juiciness, all your truth, please.
I love that. I love the way you put that. Well, my heart and my soul is in the corner of my book. My boys, my family. So I'm a special needs mom. Both my boys were born on the spectrum. One of them has Aspergers. My youngest has Aspergers. And my oldest is developmentally delayed and he's epileptic. So I had some big choices to make. I was working on Wall Street, and my mom was watching my son for the two. I had the opportunity to cut down my days so that I could be with my family. So my mom watched my son Anthony for 2 days, and I worked, and I noticed that something was definitely off. Yeah, I had to stay home, because if I didn't stay home, I wouldn't have figured it out that he was on the autism spectrum. From there, it became my passion to help him. He was speech delayed. He had seizures that you wouldn't know. They said it was 1.5 million. That I caught them at 2.5. Can you imagine? 1.5 million.
I believe it.
Intuitively, it was my best friend, his godmother, not his godmother, he's the godmother of my second, but my best friend was watching him when my grandmother passed away. She had kept him overnight.
Okay.
And she said, Kathy, you know, those conversations that we've had about him staring into space and, you know, not knowing where he is. She said, Kathy, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
There's something really wrong. And I have to tell you, I cried and I was relieved. And I was like, oh God, Patty, and she was like, are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm really, really okay. I'm going to bring him to the neurologist.
Okay.
You know, and I thought, see, you know, okay, so it's seizures, it's epilepsy, whatever it is. And I really wasn't too surprised because I have an older brother that had very, very bad seizures when he was born. So, you know, I thought to myself, it could possibly be. From there, as he got older, I started to see how delayed he was. And he really couldn't find his words. We could keep, you know, keep repeating the alphabet, keep repeating the numbers. And you know what? It just didn't stick. It just did not stick. His, you know, his behaviors were out of control. I mean, it's the same. There are no words to describe when you're so worried about your child that if he didn't get the help and the rehabilitation that he needed when I chose to do that, I was convinced. I told his godmother, Donna, that, and she's a special needs educator, that he was going to end up in jail. I knew it. I knew that he was angry. I knew that he couldn't express himself. He would take it out on other children, throw rocks at cars, things, you know, listen, there was something really wrong. And to look at him, my son looked like an angel. You would never know that he had these deep-rooted disability.
Right.
All I kept thinking was I needed to peel him apart like an onion, you know, to see the layers. And I knew that if I got him the help, he would be a different child. He needed the supports. He needed the nurse. He needed the doctor. He needed the ABAs, the behavior specialists. Now, I know about special needs parents.
Right.
You need all of this. And it's always separate. You have to bring them to the neurologist.
Right.
You know, in school, you have to get them the behavioral specialist. You have to get them the behavioral plan. You have to have these IEP meetings at the school. And you know what? I had to figure all that out. And honestly, the only answer the school district could possibly come up with, because every kindergarten placement would not have him, was to put him in a residential school placement.
Okay.
And I'm just letting the special needs parents know, when I say mothers, I don't mean just mothers. I mean dads. I mean caregivers. I mean grandparents, all of the above.
Yeah.
When you feel something so intuitively in your heart, and you know that it's the only answer, and unfortunately, we pray for answers and we don't like the answers that we receive, I suggest that you shut off all the chaos of the people telling you that it's not the right thing, you're a selfish person, how do you do that to your child, he's really not that bad. I suggest that you tune them all out and you go within and you make that decision for yourself. Because my parents, and I love them, of Italian descent, who are very, very strict, overbearing parents, refused to believe that my son needed all this help. And I love them. I love them for who they're not. And I accept them for who they're not. You know, we ended up in court because my husband and I chose this path, and they weren't happy about it. And I guess they felt that they could do better. I mean, listen, I let it go and I worked at that relationship. And, you know, eventually they became, I mean, it came full circle because My parents ended up being their sponsors for confirmation, if you could believe that.
Yeah,
Sometime.
I believe it.
I would not, I'm not a selfish person, and I didn't want my parents not to be a part of their lives. So I chose the path of forgiveness. And that's another big thing that
Huge.
I think most people have issues with. I had to make some decisions about that. I'm not saying it was easy. Eventually, my parents apologized, and they told me that they had made a mistake and that I knew what's best for my son. I chose to write the book because I know that parents of special needs suffer in silence.
Mm.
And we tend to want to be alone often because we're misunderstood. And I honestly wish that I had a book to navigate. I wish that I had a book to tell me that I was okay and that I was worthy and that my intuition was correct.
Mm-hmm.
And, growing up, my parents would be, Kathy, don't speak about the things that you see and feel because people are going to think that you're crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and I now as a grown woman, it's those things that made me crazy is what makes me a successful woman.
That's right.
And you can have all the logic of a plan, but if you have an intuitive plan, you will not fail.
That's right.
And I feel that the special needs mom, my goals, honestly, Sunshine, is to help special needs parents with self-care.
That's beautiful.
I want them to understand that self-care is pivotal in helping their children. I have an amazing group of healers that have helped me on my journey that I have met, that I feel as a coalition, getting these parents together globally and internationally, whether it's through Zoom calls and let them be seen, felt, and heard, whether it's, at the Arboretums out east, to have a day of reprieve, because people don't understand. In the back of our minds, we think we need to outlive our children. We have to concern ourselves with how we're leaving them and who we're leaving them in the care of.
Mm.
I mean, at 7, I got on my knees in my bedroom and I prayed to God to please take care of my son and to take him under his arms and to help him. That I was afraid, but I had faith. And when I tell you to meet him now, the young man that he is, you wouldn't really know he has disabilities unless you had a conversation with him. And he's seizure free since he's 8.
Oh, I love
He's
that.
seizure free since he's 8. And in Italian, we call it chiacchierone. My son talks and talks. He advocates for himself. I'm so proud of him. My dad passed last year, and I forgot I had a very important meeting for him. It was his life plan meeting. He took his own meeting.
Wow.
He said, they said, do you think, Anthony, what do you think is going on? He said, my mom is sad because of her dad. And it's okay. I'm old enough. I'll take my own meeting. When I heard that he was able to do that, it's a blessing. And the gratitude that I have for all the people that I've met on my journey, I can only wish and hope that the special needs parents that I know can meet people like them. I hope to be that person to help them. I would love to have the special needs parents get together at luncheons and discuss their worries, discuss their concerns, only from a place of love, no judging. you know, the anxiety that we have, to let them know that it's okay to go to a psychiatrist. I went when my son was placed, and I had a wonderful therapist. I really did. I first I went to a female who, she was a psychologist and a social worker. She couldn't prescribe medication, but we did a lot of talking. And she said, Kathy, it's okay to be sad. She's like, you're feeling a loss. She's like, if you need medication, she's like, you know, it's really okay. Don't be prideful. And you know what? I was on medication. It got me through to the next place. I watched my son become, you know, in all stages. I only saw him on weekends, Sunshine.
Yeah.
I mean, for the first 60 days, I couldn't see him because he needed to get acclimated to his home and go to school, which I have to tell you was absolute torture.
Yes. And how old was he?
He was 7.5.
Yeah.
I slept with his Spider-Man pajamas underneath my pillow so I could smell
Aw.
them.
Yeah.
But I know that when you speak to other people and, you know, you hear other people's problems, I would still take my problems.
It was your journey. It was your journey.
And this is my journey. You know, at first I cried and I had questions. I said, you know what? Why me? And from why me, it turns into why not me?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I met a wonderful healer. Her name is Terry Loria. And she did, you know, my family's birth chart, like all of us, the whole family, because I love astrology. Astrology doesn't lie.
Yeah.
And in my son's birth chart, it said at the age of 7, going to need to separate from his family for independence and growth. I have to tell you, just knowing that it was in the stars, that he chose me as his mother,
Mm-hmm.
so that I could vision with my husband, I felt peace. And I know that might sound strange to some people, but cosmically, that was the path.
Right.
Intuitively, he knew that I was the one to help him.
Yeah.
Years later, when Michael was born, we thought he had ADHD. Thought for 1 minute my son had Asperger's. I really didn't know. I had amazing advocates up through the whole journey. It was like heaven's sense, my earth angels, I call them.
Yeah.
Danielle and Maria, 2 beautiful ladies. I introduced them to both my children that helped me on my journey, helped me at my IEP meetings. And they said, Kathy, he has Asperger's. And I looked at them and I cried. I was like, oh my gosh, how did I miss this? How did I miss it? Because I was so focused on Anthony. I
Right.
was so focused on my oldest.
Yeah.
I didn't realize all the telltale signs of Asperger's. I ddidn't know about Asperger's.
Well, explain what Asperger's is for our audience, please.
Explain what Asperger's. So Asperger's is a social social disability, and it's anxiety when it comes to social circumstances. Whereas my son, and believe it or not, he has friends. He has really good friends, but he works very hard not to let the Asperger's aspect take over his whole life. He is in college. He does attend college, has his driver's license. He's an amazing, amazing brother to his older brother. And I'm very, very proud of their relationship because I didn't even know that was possible. I prayed about it, but I didn't force it.
Right.
Asperger's I find to be very, very complex. I have to say, as a mom, it could be a very frustrating thing because, as you can see, I am social. But I find that Michael knows he's working. He's working at his degree. He wants to work in the field of computer technology and fixing them. And it just takes him a little while to figure out social situations, and he'll discuss them with me. But both my sons, I have to wear different hats because it's two very, very different situations.
Right.
If you ask my son Anthony, Anthony, I always felt like maybe he thought that we abandoned him when he was put in the home. And he told me, no. He said, Mom, I have a really good life. I have the life that I have with my friend. Who doesn't want friends? And I have a life that I have with my family. He has a job that he loves. He does horticulture. He does planting. He does watering. With independent home group living is the administration that he's under, and he loves it. And if you think about it, how grounding is that?
That's
right?
Beautiful, yeah, all day long.
He says, I get dirty. It's okay. I love the smell of dirt. He's like, I plant. He works with girls that he, lives with. He lives in a home of 5 girls, 4 guys. I mean, it's like, who has it better than him? I go there. It's they have disabilities. They're higher functioning. And it's like a frat house, if you ask me, because they all get along. They cook, they clean, they do laundry, they go out in the community. He's all about being independent, finding himself, and I say to myself, it was blind faith, but I felt it. I felt I needed to do this for him to be successful and independent. And now, after realizing that I always thought I was taking care of myself, except that when I was in a meeting for him with my advocates, and I had a massive cardiomyopathy in the middle of the meeting. It was meant for me to be here. My uncle who had passed told me it wasn't my time. My Uncle Frank, my dad's brother who had passed not that long before, he said, it's not your time to go. You have to work with the kids. Came to, go back. Not time, go. And I was like, wow. Tell you, in that moment of thinking, I could possibly die from this. And I had my advocates for me. And one of the advocates, Danielle, her dad, or it's either Maria, is a thoracic surgeon. They knew exactly what to do. They knew exactly what to do. It wasn't, they were like, okay, Kathy, we'll get you some aspirin. The nurse came in and I said to myself, okay, I'm not going out like this. There's no way. I have so much to do.
Right.
Absolutely not. And then I realized what my purpose was. I realized it, what my purpose was, laying in the bed was not only to help, which I love, the advocating for special needs parents. I do philanthropy. I've been doing philanthropy for these kids since the moment my son was disabled, is help the parents and caregivers with self-care so that they can be better for their children, because we consume ourselves so much with their care that we don't fill our cup. And how many times do we talk about not giving love to ourselves and that self-talk? It's so important. We're important. And if we don't do that for ourselves, who's going to do it for us?
Right. That's right.
Who's going to do it for us? And I have a powerhouse of healers that I know that would be on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Do a retreat, get the parents together,
Right.
have them do yoga. Even if we walked in the Arboretum, sat and had a picnic, let's talk about what makes us happy. Let's, self-love, the gratitudes. I find that gratitude is life. Every morning to wake up and to be thankful for what you have and not for what you don't.
That's right.
Because then you'll never have enough.
Yep.
It's those decisions that we have to make every day. But I've heard some people say to me, I don't know how you smile. I don't know how you carry yourself. I don't know. Well, you know what? What is it going to do for me if I don't take care of myself and I don't smile? And I'm all about paying it forward. I want to pay it forward. I feel like the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, my boys are really okay, and I know they're going to be okay in the future, and that's because of my sense of intuition.
Yeah. And you
And
were allowing them to be who they were.
And I still do that.
Yeah.
I still let them screw up, and I still watch, and I still wait for them to come to me to tell me that they screwed up, even with their disabilities.
Yeah.
Because my parents hovered over me with like helicopter parents, and it was awful. And I am the black sheep, and I know I am. There's not a doubt in my mind. I am breaking all karmic curses, I don't even know what you want to call it, but there's no way that crap is going to stick with me. I'm breaking all the chains.
Yeah.
Because I love them, but you have to let them grow.
Yeah. And they chose these, this journey. Like you said, you had the astrologer, look at everything, and this is what they chose. They chose this journey, and it's how, we allow them to just be on that journey, because we have our own separate journey.
Right. And they actually, listen, spiritually, you and I know that it's their path, and they're choosing this
That's right. Yeah.
path for as difficult it is. And I know they're going to have a very hard time wrapping their head around that. And me, for all that I've read and my belief system, I know that we become their parents for a reason. And I feel that I'm my son's parents because I was able to navigate them in this lifetime. I feel my purpose is to help other parents navigate for their children and to teach them self-care and to know that self-care is so important so that their children could grow up being happy and being self-confident. And you know what? Regardless of them having disabilities, I always tell my friends, why don't you talk to them and not the disability? If it's possible, I mean, I've done it. And the answer, the answer is love, love, and more love. That's my prescription.
Yes. Mine too.
Love, and more love.
Yes.
My son is on a cocktail of medications, but I got news for you. If it wasn't for all the love in my family, honestly, we didn't get along because of all the love that we had for both my boys, because everybody thought that, they had the right idea and that, no, we should come together as a community and help these children. And I really feel that it's internationally, globally, community, like to have the luncheons, to have the retreats, the self-care retreats, to have open discussions on Zoom to talk about, hey, and it's okay to cry and tell me how you feel. And how do you feel about yourself as a dad? How do you feel about yourself as a mom? Like, let's switch that up. Like, how can we change those words so that you're doing, we're all doing the best that we can.
That's
We
right.
might not feel it's, we're always going to doubt ourselves, Sunshine. And I'm sure you've doubted yourself. Their manual. They don't. But if we have each other, right, as a unity, like I really, really feel it's like a movement. You change lives by the ripple effect. That's why I love this effect. I touch your life, you touch someone else's life. We come together as a group and we help other people. I really believe we can change things up for these kids. I know that part of my calling is advocacy in Washington.
Right.
My boys are doing well now. Like, I know that I'm going to meet people that are going to want to do that, and I'm going to be a part of that. So there's a whole gamut of what goals that I want to meet, and I feel like it's a lifetime. This is it. I feel so honored that the universe my children chose me to be their mom, and the universe has chosen me to bring people together for all good reasons.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I believe it. I believe it. Yay.
I do. I really, really do. And, it takes a village. It takes a village to raise any child. And I was very to have my village. I had, a behavioral specialist come to my home, and her name was Deja Minicosi. I'll never forget it. And she said to me, I have a home for him. It's a perfect, but at the time he couldn't be placed because he was being placed somewhere else. He did eventually end up in that home.
Beautiful.
Like, it was where he needed to be.
Yeah.
And he was worrying. But you know what? Divine intervention, if you do believe, the answers come. They show up. They just come.
It's trust that you have to trust that it's meant for you. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you.
Right. That's exactly it. And not only that, Sunshine, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, is that whatever is going on the inside it's what you perceive on the outside.
Right.
So me, people say to me, Kathy, where have you been since 2014 when your first book was published? Why didn't you promote? You want to know why, Sunshine? I've been healing myself. You can't help other parents and other people if you are not healing yourself or on that path. Right, you get it. Right, you get it. I mean, I honestly now could speak to someone and immediately I could cut to the point. I couldn't do that before. I had my own stuff going on.
Right.
I could speak to a special needs parent and I could diagnose that child. It's just the way it is. Because now I feel like I'm a clear vessel. I'm able to get the information that I need as an intuitive healer. And I'm able to see what it is that we need to do. And eventually the answers come. My village, again, I was very, very fortunate that his godmother is a special needs teacher. And she had my back and said, Kathy, I love you. I love my godson. There's something wrong. Those that were open, that understood and had the experience, were able to see what I was able to know.
Right.
As a mom, he wasn't developing like other children. And, my best friend Patty, who I love, my ride or die, she's the one that told me that, Kathy, I think he's having seizures, I just want to pay homage because her husband recently passed away, not that long ago, a couple days ago, maybe a week ago, and they helped me and my husband raise our two boys with unconditional love,
That's beautiful.
and they've accepted them unconditionally. And I really feel it's people like that who came into my life, who showed my boys the love and acceptance that have made them the men that they are, the young men that they are, because all they want to do is find their place in the world.
Yeah.
These children just want value. If we don't give them that, who's going to give them that? And if we don't help the parents help heal themselves, how do they help their children? It's all a circle.
Yeah.
It's all a circle. We're a product of our parents. Like, like maybe, I know my parents didn't know any better. I know that, they're a product of their environment. Okay. Doesn't mean you have to be like
Yeah.
them.
Learn. Yeah.
You
learn.
could work on you. It's easier said than done.
Right.
Yeah. Learn from it. Learn from it. And I find that my boys have made me a better woman, a better mom. I've had selfish people tell me, I don't know how you could be happy. It's shocking, but it's really not, because my boys have brought me so much love and closer to my faith and closer to my intuition than ever before.
Right. And they just don't understand. So
and
send
just
them
watch
love. Yeah.
Right. And and honestly, I pray for people like that.
Yeah.
Because really they're sad inside. Honestly, for them to say such a statement, they're sad inside and they actually need more help than they want to believe they do.
Right.
It's, what do they say? The people that are unloved are the ones that need the love the most.
Yeah. The one.
So and again, it's their projection.
Right.
It has nothing to do with me. And that's another thing. When you're a special needs parent, always on, we're hypervigilant. And it's almost like PTSD. I know it's like PTSD because I lived it, and we're running on adrenaline. That's no way to live. It's really no way to live. Like, you have to really take the time to listen to your body.
Yeah.
And if it means, the other day I went in the rain. My husband was like, "Are you all right?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You know what? The rain is telling, I felt like I needed to be in the rain, the cool rain."
Yeah.
And I was taking deep breaths and I was just like, grounding.
Grounding. Yeah. It's so grounding just being outside, but in the rain.
And I felt good. Here, the wind was
Yeah.
peaceful, loving.
Yes.
It's cleansing.
Yes.
Like when we talk about, the chakras, and we talk about, the heart and the throat and it's all the rainbow body. I'm fortunate enough to have people like Susan Geldman and Michael that do the singing bowls and the sound baths. And I have to tell you, that is my medicine.
I know.
It really, really is. And I'm fortunate enough to have that.
Yes.
Now, people don't really understand that the sound of the bowls helps you heal the body, and the meditation grounds you. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. I'm not the same person I was even after meeting Susan and Michael for a couple years and doing this. I mean, if I can take that and give it to other parents and to show them how soothing that is, what a wonderful gift to give them, to show them that there are so many things of yoga, that.
Yeah.
I mean, yoga, maybe it's not for everybody, but even breathing exercises, I've learned them myself, just to learn how to really breathe. So we walk around and some of us don't even know how to breathe correctly.
Right.
Like, really take the deep breaths.
Yeah.
you know? So I have to honestly say that, I have an amazing group that has helped me, that I would love to share with the community, with parents,
That's beautiful.
and it happen.
Yeah. It's all good. Now, tell us, what is the book about?
Well, the first book was about my boys from, maybe, I want to say, middle, like 13, and it goes back to their birth.
Okay.
Now it's about them coming full circle as men.
Oh, I love it.
So many people have asked me how they've developed, and Michael is in college, and he has his driver's license, and he will become a computer technician.
That's
And Anthony is living in a home, in a group home, where I'm very, very proud of him. He's become very independent. He's very vocal. He advocates for himself. It touches on all the things that I feel us as grown adults go through in life. My mom, unfortunately, has dementia, and we had to make the choice of put her in a nursing home, and that tore at my heartstrings. But it was almost the same as putting my son in a group
right,
home,
right,
and I feel like it prepared me for that.
right.
Only on a scale, because it's on the other side of the spectrum. And
Mhm.
intuitively, I knew that's what she needed, even though other family members again fought me.
Right.
But I knew that she needed more. And it's about grieving, because I lost my dad last year, and a year and a half of me taking, me and my siblings and I taking care of his congestive heart failure,
Mm.
and what it's like to lose a parent and go through the motions of seeing them deteriorate. And I actually experienced um, seeing him be ready
Yeah,
and telling him that it was okay to go,
yeah,
which I don't think many people realize how important it is to have them hear those words,
yes,
because they hold on for us.
yes,
You know, we've had so many, I personally, for me, the book has been cathartic. I feel like there's so much happiness, and there's so much, it's the ebb and flows of life. Um, and you make it through.
yeah,
For as dark as it is, you make it through. You do make it through to the other side of the tunnel.
yeah,
You know, but I really feel that, having my children with special needs and going through all these cycles of life and having to explain it to them and try to be that loving and understanding parent, which isn't always easy. And then keeping my faith and praying and asking for my own answers and asking for answers for them. Having for me to break it down for them to understand that grandpa's not coming back.
right, right. Now, how
You
long
know,
have
and
you been
it
open?
really, really is. What was that? Excuse me?
Sorry. How long have you been open to the spiritual world?
Very young,
Yeah.
very young. I I used to see things and hear things all the time. Intuitively, I knew things all the time before they happened. I just watched them happen.
Yeah.
Um, I would I was never alone. I was very shy. Um, of course, when your parents tell you not to talk about it, And then as I got older, I realized, you know what? That's my jam.
Yeah.
That's the core of me.
Yeah, yeah.
That's my superpower. I'm an empath, and I really didn't like it very much,
Well, you
sunshine,
didn't
until
know.
I learned to harness it.
Yeah,
I feel unless you learn how to use it as a tool,
right.
no good.
Yeah. You
It's a
you have
blessing and a
to learn.
curse.
Yeah, you have to learn. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
love
but it's helped
that too.
me. It's helped me be very compassionate
Mm,
and empathetic to many, many people,
right.
right?
Yeah.
So, for as much as those things may um, bring us up, I want to say, because we're able to feel it, release it, and help other people. You
Right.
know, it's all about paying it forward.
Yeah. So what services do you offer?
I I have my certificate in Reiki, and I have my certificates in IET. I incorporate my healing modalities with whomever comes in my path. I'm thinking leads community and the parents. Um, and also because I feel I've been a special needs parent for 25 years, it's really about the intuitive part of me. It's about meeting the new faces and helping them, whether it's for educational purposes, whether it's academics for their children, whether it's getting their child on the right medication. And I have to tell you, it's also telling them not to listen to the professionals because they're not always right.
Right.
Because I have to tell you, sassy, yeah, I've been called sassy. I've been called a couple things. I really don't care. If you don't speak up for your child, who's going to speak up for your child?
Right.
And if you don't want them on a certain medication, damn it, don't put them on it. Don't. They're very quick to push the meds. Very, very
Right.
quick. And,
Yeah.
my son has seizures. Yeah, he needs the meds. But when I tell them, can we really cut down on this? Can we really, and I've been very, very fortunate that I feel like I'm understood and it's accepted, I want to say. But a lot of parents just think that because these doctors have the degree on the wall, that means they mean more than you.
Yeah.
I have news for you. That's a crock of crap. It really is.
Yeah.
Because you really need to look into the meds for yourself and see what's working and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And I know it's difficult. But don't be so ready, to say yes to everything. And sometimes less is more, I want to say.
I love less is more.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah.
Breathing exercises, whatever it is, like and this is what I mean by the music. I mean, I've seen children with Susan and Michael, whether neurotypical or non-neurotypical, play the drums
Mhm.
and play the tambourine and sing. And what it does to them, you could see them come in one way and then they're just jiving
Yeah.
and they're moving around. I mean, movement, music, whatever it takes to heal the body,
Yeah.
whatever it takes to have these kids communicate that can't find their words. I'm all about it. I'm
You
all about it.
I love that. Yeah. It's so
It,
true.
it's the meds to me. That's medication. It's the food. My son. If you ask me, I I've been asked on so many occasions, Kat, I think really helped your son outgrow his seizures and just develop. My mother, really, when I worked on Wall Street, it was a Mediterranean diet. My son's a healthy eater.
Yeah.
It's the food. My father grew everything in the garden.
I love that.
Organic, European diet,
Yeah.
clean eating. That being on the right cocktail of medications, it has a lot to do with it. Structure, I'm not saying structure is easy. I'm not saying sometimes I fail myself
You got to stop
with
saying,
structure.
you
But,
have to stop
they need it.
saying the word failure.
I know.
You're only doing the best that you could possibly do.
Right. You're absolutely correct. But I feel sometimes, because we are so hard on ourselves, because we think we should be doing so much more for them, and we feel they first of all, our children are where they're at, and I know that my boys are where they're at, and every child progresses at a different speed, but we are hard on ourselves, which is not good.
And that's
It
why
just isn't good.
right. And that's why you're trying to help people with self-love, right?
Right. I had to learn it.
Yeah. I had to learn
I
it.
had to learn. Right. And I know that about you. We all have our journey.
Yeah.
And if you can take your journey and you can help other people not make the same mistakes,
Right.
or be self-aware
Right.
and turn a negative into a positive and inspire them to to do more for themselves. And I don't think it gets better than that. And I've said this, if my book helps one person, then it's done its job. I have people who have called me, like, actually, I emailed from Alaska. I was so taken back. I was like, how'd that happen? Like, you're like India, and it fills me.
Yeah. I actually got a message
And
from a
with my
woman.
second book, I just know it, and yeah,
I
I
got a
love it.
Yeah, I got a message yesterday from a woman from Africa when I posted my sweater that I made. She said, she said she was having a horrible day and she saw my video and my little shimmy. She was crying and then she saw me and she just stopped crying and felt my joy.
Well, Sunshine, I can say that. Maybe, like, I look at your videos, and I might be having a moment, and I see what you're doing, whether you're dancing, showing your painting, running around in your sweaters, and I'm like, she's got the right idea. I'm not even gonna tell you the words that come out of my mouth, because anybody who knows me knows that I can have a severe potty mouth. I'm like, she's definitely got the shtick. She's definitely got it. That's the way we all need to be, because this life I'm telling you, it could really, you have to have fun.
Yeah.
Susan and I, when we laugh, like, we'll look at each other, no, too serious.
Yeah.
Like, you really have to poke at each other. You have to say, you have to snap out of it, because it's one journey we got here. It's one.
Right.
You smile, project the love, laugh.
And
that's what I love about you, the kid in you.
I'm internally 3 years old, but it's so important to, nourish and inspire each other.
That little girl inside of you. I have to tell you, when I first met Susan, and we all meet people for different reasons. The very first time she said to me, how does that little girl feel inside? And I cried.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never heard that
Yeah.
before. Sunshine, I've never heard that before. In all the years of my healing, and it could be that my teacher, Terry Luria, may have, but, or into past life journeys. When she said it to me, the way she said it, open heart, full of love,
Mm,
I was like, oh my gosh, I just realized what you said.
yeah. Well,
It's
you could hear it so many times, but not until you're ready to hear it. That's when it's, happens.
I knew it at that moment,
Yeah.
that a lot of the stuff that I was feeling was from childhood.
Yeah.
And the light bulb went off. It was a moment of awakening.
Yeah.
And all that work that I did, I was healing that little girl. Only
Right.
that's not, I didn't know that that's what it was called. I know it might sound silly, but I didn't make the connection.
Right. It doesn't
I
sound silly. You're telling your truth.
right. And I hugged her and I said, thank you for that. I said, you don't know what that just did for me.
Yeah.
And ever since now, I use that line to help other parents.
Yeah.
The little boy, the little girl,
You know me, that's my specialty.
that's what that's about. It stems
Yeah.
from someplace
Yeah. That's my specialty.
to heal that.
Yeah. Connecting you
I
to.
know. And then when I met you, and that wasn't a coincidence, I put people on that. Like I was like, wow, okay, that's what she does. That makes sense because
Yeah.
again, I'm here now, right?
Right.
So now I'm starting to realize that that's what it is. There's a name for it. You know how you work on things, you don't even realize that's the name for it?
Yeah.
It's like dealing with narcissistic people, and you're like, what is that? There's something wrong. There's got to be and then you're like, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we're empaths, right? Because
Yeah.
we're like, oh, do people really act like that? Yeah, they do. Right?
Yeah. I was married to a couple of them.
And you know what? You know this. I don't have to say it. There's lessons in that. That's
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And then look at you now.
I
Look
know.
at you now.
I'm grateful for it. I thank them every day.
You know what? I'm so glad you said that because I thank mine too.
Uh,
I thank mine too.
yeah,
It taught me what I do not want to become ever.
exactly. Taught me what
Not
what
the
I don't want in life.
That's exactly. Isn't that great though?
Yeah.
It's powerful stuff.
So powerful. So powerful. Is there anything that you want to say out loud to our beautiful audience?
Well, I really wholeheartedly want to thank the village that helped me raise my boys through the years, and they know who they are. My best friend Patty and her husband, who loved my children unconditionally through the years, and I will never forget the love and acceptance that they gave my children to become the men that they are. Very generous, very caring. My husband, who really works very, very hard so that I could raise my sons. He's a really good man. He's a hustler. He believes in my journey and my path. He's loved me since I'm 18, and I'm not saying it's always been easy, but he is my love. I'm with him for a reason. He taught me to detach. That's what he taught me. He taught me to detach because when I love big and I love hard. It's very hard for me to detach.
Beautiful.
And my cousin Donna, who's a special needs teacher, she was one of the best in Queens, that they use her classroom as a model for other teacher, so it says something about her as a
Yeah.
very loving human being. My mom and my dad, who made me who I am today. Through it all, I wouldn't ask for any other parents because it's made me a better woman, and they made me who I am today. My soul sisters, my absolute soul sisters, Susan and Michael, who really, they always have my back. The love I get from them is tremendous. The love and acceptance. My friend Sharon, who is, you know, she is I call her my spiritual gangster. You know, we all are. But honestly, we are community.
Yeah, it sounds
We
like
are
you're surrounded by unconditional love.
unconditional love. And you know what? I just, honestly, if there's one thing that I would really, really like to put out there is that the people you surround yourself with really do make you or break you. And I'm surrounded by a powerhouse of people,
Yeah.
of substance, of strength, of faith, of spirituality. They believe in the purpose why they're here. They believe that we're here to help one another. I know that regardless of what's going on out in the world, that we are meant to raise the vibration of those around us.
Mhm.
I know that my purpose is really to help the special needs community the best that I can, to the best of my ability. I want to help the unknown faces that I haven't met around the world. And I can only wish and hope that all special needs parents find their path for their children and find the way to give themselves self-love. That's my wish for them.
Beautiful. We all need self-love. That's for sure. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. I think she is frozen. We had a wonderful, wonderful time. Thank you so much, Kathy, for all your beautiful words and her book. Definitely check it out. She's an amazing, amazing, intuitive, beautiful soul. I love each and every one of you. I hope you enjoyed the show and have a magical evening. Love you. May we all be happy, healthy, wealthy, and free.
This is the moment we've been waiting for. Feel the right in the world of that for sure. Na 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 na. Got to get that feeling.